After getting off at City Hall Station and taking the elevator up, I was immediately struck by the sight of towering modern skyscrapers, contrasting with the historic stone walls of Deoksugung Palace. The streets were buzzing with energy, filled with crowds of students out on field trips. Deoksugung is unique among Seoul's royal palaces, as it famously blends traditional Korean architecture with Western-style buildings, serving as a symbolic site of Korea's modern history. Now, let's walk along the wall toward Daehanmun Gate and the ticket office to step inside this beautiful blend of past and present.
The admission fee is only 1,000 Korean dollars, which is incredibly affordable. Now, take a look at the architecture of Daehanmun Gate. It features a single-story hip and gable roof, known as paljakjibung, which gives it an elegant and expansive silhouette. If you look up, you'll see the intricate danchang, the traditional multicolored patterns, and the gongpo brackets that support the heavy eaves without any nails. Originally, this gate was located further out, but as the city modernized and the roads widened, it was moved to its current position, standing today as a resilient bridge between Seoul's past and present.
Now we stand before Hamnyeongjeon Gate. For many years, this gate was used as an exhibition space for artifacts in a different corner of the palace, but in 2018, it was finally moved back to its original historical location. Architecturally, it is a 3-kon wide by 2-kon deep structure with a single-eave gable roof, known as matbaejibung, which gives it a more solemn and disciplined appearance compared to the main gate. As the main entrance to Hamnyeongjeon, the emperor's sleeping quarters, its simple yet dignified design was intended to create a transition into the private and sacred space of the royal family. Seeing it here, back in its rightful place, truly restores the original layout and harmony of the Deoksugung Palace grounds. Before we pass through Junghwamun Gate, notice the long, roofed corridors flanking the pathway. These are known as haenggak. In traditional Korean palace architecture, these structures were not just walkways. They served as functional spaces for royal guards and palace officials, while also defining the boundaries of the most formal area of the palace. Architecturally, the haenggak creates a sense of enclosure and solemnity. These repetitive wooden columns and the long, low roofline act as a visual frame, naturally drawing your eyes toward the main throne hall. While much of the original corridor system was lost during the Japanese colonial period, the remaining sections give us a glimpse of how this space was once a fully enclosed, majestic courtyard. As we move toward the heart of the palace, we face the majestic Junghwamun Gate, the main entrance to the throne hall. Architecturally, it mirrors the grandeur of the main hall with its multi-cluster bracket system, known as dapo, and a magnificent hip and gable roof. Although it stands as a single-story structure today, it originally had a much larger presence as part of a roofed corridor system that once enclosed the entire courtyard. As you pass through this gate, the space opens up to reveal the grand courtyard, designed to inspire awe and signify the supreme authority of the empire. Notice the elevated stone pathway, or samdo, leading through the gate. The slightly raised center path was reserved exclusively for the emperor, while the side paths were for his officials. One of the most striking details is the steel stones, or pungaesok, standing in the courtyard, marking where officials stood according to their rank. Now, standing before us in its full majesty is Junghwajeon, the main throne hall of Deoksugung Palace. As the center of the Great Han Empire, this was the sacred space where the emperor conducted state affairs and greeted foreign envoys. Architecturally, Junghwajeon is a masterpiece of the late Joseon dynasty. It features a double-tiered stone terrace called Waldae, which elevates the building to symbolize the emperor's high status. If you look at the roof, you'll see a complex multi-cluster bracket system supporting the massive hip and gable roof. Inside, the ceiling is adorned with golden twin dragons, representing the supreme authority of the emperor. Although it was originally a 2-story building before being rebuilt in 1906, its current single-story structure still exudes a powerful, dignified presence that dominates the palace grounds.
Near the corners of the terrace, you'll find large bronze basins called Deumu. These were symbolic fire extinguishers filled with water. According to legend, when a fire demon saw its own hideous reflection in the water, it would get scared and run away. These heavy vessels stand as silent guardians, reflecting the ancient wisdom of protecting this wooden palace from fire. As we walk behind the grand Junghwajeon, the atmosphere shifts as we encounter Seogeodang. This building is a rare architectural gem within the palace grounds. At first glance, you'll notice its most striking feature. It is entirely unpainted. While most royal buildings are adorned with vibrant tancheong patterns, Seogeodang retains the natural, raw texture of the wood, known as a baekgoljip style. This gives it the humble yet dignified appearance of a traditional scholar's private residence, rather than a flamboyant royal hall. Beyond its color, Seogeodang is also famous for being the only two-story wooden structure remaining in Deoksugung. Its double-roofed silhouette creates a beautiful vertical perspective that is fascinating to see in 3D. Historically, this site carries a somber weight. It was here that King Sanjo returned and stayed after the Imjin War, and where he eventually passed away. Take a moment to look at the intricate wooden latticework of the windows and the weathered pillars. This building doesn't rely on bright colors to show its status. Instead, it tells a story of resilience and history through the honest beauty of its natural materials. It stands as a quiet wooden masterpiece amidst the more colorful structures of the palace. Continuing our walk behind Seogeodang, we arrive at two elegant buildings standing side by side, Jeukjodang and Junghwajeon. What makes this area particularly interesting from an architectural standpoint is the narrow wooden corridor that connects the two structures, allowing for movement between them without stepping onto the ground. This reflects the practical yet intimate design of the royal living quarters. Jeukjodang holds immense historical significance. Its name means the hall where the king ascended the throne, marking the spot where both King Kwanghaegun and King Injo were crowned. It served as a symbolic bridge between the Joseon dynasty and the new Great Han Empire. Right next to it is Junghwajeon, which features a clean and balanced facade with a beautiful hip and gable roof. This hall was primarily used by Emperor Gojong to handle state affairs and receive foreign envoys, but it's also warmly remembered as a classroom for his beloved young daughter, Princess Deokye. If you look closely at the veranda, you can still see the low railings that were installed to keep the young princess safe. Together, these two halls represent a unique blend of high-stakes royal politics and the quiet, personal moments of the imperial family. You might be wondering about those two stone pillars standing surprisingly far back in the courtyard. At first glance, they look like independent monuments, especially with those tiny tiled roofs on top. These are actually detached chimneys. To protect the wooden palace from fire and smoke, the architects designed long underground tunnels called yeondo to carry the smoke far away from the building before releasing it. The small roofs you see on top aren't just for decoration. They are functional miniature roofs designed to keep rainwater from entering the flue and damaging the heating system. These chimneys are a brilliant example of how Joseon architecture prioritized both safety and aesthetic harmony, turning a simple vent into a beautiful garden feature. Passing through Junghwamun Gate, we arrive at Deokhongjeon, the hall once used for receiving foreign envoys and high-ranking officials. Unlike other private quarters, this building was designed as an open, spacious reception area to accommodate many guests at once. While its exterior maintains a traditional hip and gable roof, the interior was once modernly decorated with Western-style chandeliers. It's a unique architectural space where traditional Korean beauty meets the dawn of the modern era. Right next to Deokhongjeon stands Hamnyeongjeon, the private residence and sleeping quarters of Emperor Gojong. Architecturally, it is a magnificent wooden structure featuring a hip and gable roof, yet it lacks the colorful danchang paintings on certain parts, giving it a more calm and settled atmosphere compared to the formal halls. If you look at the layout, it is designed in a U-shape to provide a sense of privacy and comfort for the imperial family. This building is also deeply etched in Korean history as the place where Emperor Gojong spent his final years and passed away in 1919. Despite the peaceful and elegant appearance of its finely crafted lattice doors and sturdy wooden pillars, this hall was the center of many turbulent historical events during the transition into the modern era. As you observe the quiet veranda and the surrounding garden, you can feel a poignant sense of history, a space that once held the heavy responsibilities of an emperor, now standing as a serene monument to his legacy.